Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew Brodsky. I'm a Division I track and field athlete for Stony Brook University in Stony Brook, Long Island, New York. And today, in this video, I wanted to go over just a couple tips that I have to help you excel in not only college track and field, but also just in general track and field. Now, obviously, I don't think I'm someone who actually has technically excelled in track. My best PR currently is a 151 in the 800, and some people will think that's good, some people will think that's not so good, and I mean, regardless of what you think, that's my PR. And I know in the grand scheme of things you're really not the fastest, but I know where I can be, and I know where I want to be, and I know where I'm gonna end up being eventually. So I just think that these are some tips that I learned at least through my freshman year. And it's tips that, not only I learned myself, but I learned from older guys on the team who have a lot more wisdom and knowledge than I did. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to share those tips, and hopefully that helps you guys out, whether you're in college or you're still in high school. Hopefully that helps you guys out, and hopes you guys have some PRs. So I mean, without further ado, let's just get right into it. Okay, so for the first tip, I think this is probably one of the most important tips, and it took me a while to actually fully understand this and get used to doing this, but it's getting a consistent amount of sleep. So in high school, I really never really got good sleep. Like, I was probably sleeping like 5 hours a day because I had to wake up like 6 in the morning to make it to school on time. But in college, I also wasn't really sleeping the best during the first semester because it's really easy to go to sleep late when you're dorming with your teammates and you guys are like really good friends, or I'm playing video games, and whatever reason it was, I just wasn't really getting good sleep. I was going to sleep very late, and I had like 9 a.m. practices, so I was waking up at like 8 in the morning, and I wasn't really getting the best sleep. It was a little bit better than in high school, but it really wasn't the best. And I think in the second semester, I really tried to lock into my sleep, and I was going to sleep at like 11:30 every night, waking up at 7. Like, I was getting 8 hours of sleep consistently, and I started to see a big change in training, in racing, just everything in general. So I think getting a consistent amount of sleep is definitely like the number one thing that a lot of people don't do, and it's something that they should do, and they should really like get on themselves about it, because if you don't get a consistent amount of sleep, your body just simply is not recovering. And I know a lot of people in the sport who they train right, they can even eat right, they do everything they're supposed to do, and they can't perform. And sometimes it's literally just because they're just not sleeping like enough, and it's not consistent. Sleep really goes a long way, so I think it's the most important tip out of all these here. So if you don't get enough sleep, I mean, it's really hard to recover properly and just be ready for the next day. So my second tip would be like eating right. Now, I would take this with a grain of salt, because I don't think you need to be on a very strict diet, especially as a runner. Like, I think it's more in the sense of you have to make sure that you're just eating enough and you're consuming enough calories that you're not losing weight from all the running that you're doing. Because obviously running, you burn a lot of calories, especially even only as an 800 meter runner, and I'm only doing like maybe 30 miles a week. I'm still burning a lot of calories every run, and you need to eat a lot of calories so you can get all that back, and you're ready to go for the next day, so you're recovered, you're fully recovered, and you can go the next day. So I think eating right is very important, but I'm not saying you have to, go on a diet and only eat salad and like eat very strict foods, because I was not doing that. I was pretty loose with what I ate, but I would try to stay away from like sweets, and I would try to stay away from like certain things here and there. I know during, I think maybe like 2-3 weeks out of conference, I stopped eating fried food. I actually started eating like super clean, like 2 to 3 weeks outside of conference. So I'm not saying you have to necessarily do all that, but just kind of be mindful of what you eat. I'm very big on not eating things that have additives in them. So I use this app called Yuka, and I just like scan like the barcode of certain things that I'll eat, and if they have additives, I just literally just won't eat them. I try to look and make sure I don't eat stuff with additives, but that's more of like a personal preference. But yeah, I think just mainly eating enough and making sure that you're eating right to a certain extent. It doesn't have to be extremely strict, but just so that you're consuming the right amount of calories, you're not eating like super bad foods like all the time. Like if you have like ice cream here and there, it's fine. Like it's really not gonna like kill you, but it's like those little things like that. So my third tip, which kind of also goes in with the first two tips, is just recovering. I probably said the word a bunch of times already. What do I mean by recovering, right? Outside of sleeping and eating, I mean after your run, what are you doing? You go shower, or obviously in college, after my run I go shower, and then I go roll out again. Even though you roll out before you run, you roll out after you run, no matter what. And whatever else you have to do in the training room, you go do. So what if I have to hit the ice tubs that day, if I have to hit the warm tubs that day, if I have to do some Normatec boots, if I have to get a massage, if what else? If I have to do certain stretches, like certain things like that. And you have to really treat your body right, because if you don't treat your body right, it's not gonna perform the way that you want it to. So I had like an ankle injury like the second half of the second semester. So before practice, I would try to get into the training room maybe like 30-45 minutes before I would usually go there. So I could go 10 minutes in the hot tub, and then I would do various stretches just to make sure my ankle was like good, it was kind of warmed up, and it helped just strengthen that part of the body that was being injured at the time. But I was still training through it, and by the end of the season I really didn't need to do it anymore, but I was still doing it, because just because it doesn't hurt doesn't mean it's not going to come back. So you got to keep doing those little things. Yeah, so I think recovering right is super important. And obviously if you're in high school, you might not have access to training rooms. So in high school, I don't think I was really recovering right either. But if I could go back and change it, what I would do was just, at least after my workouts and runs, I would just roll out. I think that's the bare minimum that you should be doing. And I think it really does help you, because it just helps your legs feel better for the next day, and it helps your body recover properly. And at the end of the day, that's what you need. You got to be ready for the next day, So my fourth tip I would probably say is don't add extra stress to yourself, whether that's with like classwork. So like making sure that, if you have a meet on Saturday or meet on Sunday, and you have an assignment due the same day as the meet or something like that, try to get it done beforehand, so you're not adding extra stress to yourself when you're on the bus, like worrying about whether or not you're gonna get the due date in on time and all that stuff. Or if you have a test a certain day, maybe try to study like a little bit in advance if you have a meet and that's gonna take up a lot of your time. So try to do something like that. There's obviously more ways than just school with how you can add stress to yourself, but I would just say just kind of be mindful of what's going on, and like when due dates are, and outside of school obviously there's other things that could be happening, so try to deal with that the best you can. Obviously it's not easy sometimes with certain things going on, but I think adding extra stress to yourself is a thing that a lot of athletes tend to do, and it really never works out for them. Also could be said with if you have a meet on Saturday and it's Monday or Tuesday and you had a bad workout maybe, and now you're thinking about, oh, this workout went bad, that means the meet's gonna go bad, and you're adding all this stress to yourself. You gotta kind of relax. You gotta believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, that when it's on the day, you're gonna have it on the day. If you have a bad workout, it happens, but you can't think about that and let that stress build up, because by the time you get to the meet, it's gonna be too much stress, and your body can't handle all that. At the end of the day, like, this sport is very individual, and it is about completely pushing your body to the limits. So if you have a lot of stress, it's gonna be really hard for you to push your body past its limits. So yeah, I just think that be mindful of things that's going on in life, and try not to add extra stress to yourself. There's no need. It's a fun sport at the end of the day. Try to have fun with it. My fifth tip, I would say, which is I don't know if it's the most important tip. I definitely think sleeping is very important, but one of my, I guess, favorite tips to give out, and I know that this can also help a lot of people who are in a slump, and a lot of people who are kind of just stuck in like a certain time range, and they're practicing right, they're eating right, they're sleeping right, you're doing all the other things I just said, but it just doesn't come together on race day. And it could be very hard to deal with that, because you're doing everything right, but it's just not working out. So my fifth tip, I would say, is your mindset. You need to have a why. Why do you run? Why do you compete? Why do you do this sport? If you don't have a reason why you do it, it's gonna be really hard for you to push past those limits that your mind's like putting on you. Because this sport is very, very difficult. Like you're literally pushing your body past its own limits. When your mind is telling you to stop running, when your mind is telling you that you're tired, you're supposed to do the exact opposite and actually go harder, right? The last 100 meters of your 800, you're dying. Like your legs are filled with lactic acid. It's hard to move, but you have to move, and you know you have to move, and you're trying your hardest to keep pushing. Everyone's best race is when they gave it like literally 100% effort and gave it their all the last 100 meters, right? I think having the proper mindset is very, very important when it comes to track, not only obviously in college, but in high school as well. But I think that in college it's even more important, because in high school a lot of times you're the best on your team, maybe the best in your section, the best in your class, whatever it's called, the best in your area, or you're at least one of the best. So you don't have to have the craziest mindset, because you're already naturally good, you're naturally athletic, you're probably going to do pretty well regardless. But when you get to college, everyone else is just as good, if not better than you. Most of the time it's better than you. So you have to have a different mindset going into college. For me, I just don't like losing. I'm super competitive. I think that's why I am able to perform on race day sometimes. I feel like I'm a great racer, and it's because I just hate losing. So, when I see the guy in front of me, I just want to beat him because they're in front of me, People just run for other reasons. Not everyone's going to have the same mindset that I have, obviously, right? Obviously, you can be competitive and still have a different why for why you do track, But I think the main thing is that you need to find your why, and you need to find out why you run. I think once you do that, it'll help you in races, because when you're down to the last 100 meters, 150 meters, you could think about that why. You could think about why you do this, and that could help you push past your limits. And my sixth and final tip would be just to trust the process. I think especially in college, this is a main thing for college. You ran probably like 4 years in high school, maybe 3, whatever. You're used to a very specific type of training. You're used to a specific type of coach. You're used to a specific type of teammates. Whatever it is. You're going to a new place. You have new training, new coaches, new faces, new facilities. It's a lot to take in at first, and I would be lying if I said that there wasn't a couple workouts where I thought, oh, this is so stupid, or I don't understand the idea behind this, and like maybe I half-assed it, or just thought it wasn't gonna work, right? But I think what helped me was I started to trust the process, and I wasn't running good at first. I mean, I think you guys, I don't really know if I've explicitly stated that I wasn't running the best, but in the beginning of the year, I really wasn't running the best. I think my PR indoors was 156 in the 800. So that's really not good, especially for someone who had a faster PR in high school. It was hard, and obviously you can lose faith in the training very, very fast if you let yourself do it. And that was something that I did not let myself do. Obviously there were days where I thought that something was stupid, but I kind of regrouped with myself and my mind and was like, I gotta relax. Like, you're here for a reason. You gotta trust the process. You gotta trust this training, because at the end of the day, like, these people, these coaches have been there longer than you have. They've seen a lot of runners, and they've trained a lot of runners. And I mean, if you're at a school that you want to be at, then you got to trust the process. You got to just trust that it's going to work. And I had faith in my coaches. I had faith in myself. And it worked out for the most part. Running 151 was, it's no slouch, but obviously it's not where I fully want to be, but I was happy with where I ended up in the end of my freshman year. Numbers don't lie, I got 6th at our conference meet. Indoors, I think I was probably ranked outside of the top 25. I wasn't even projected to make the final of our conference championship, and I made the final. I was projected to get last place in the final, and I got 6th out of 8th, so didn't get last, but you got to trust the process, because at the end of the day, things are going to work out, and you're here for a reason. You're running for a reason. Yeah, so just trusting the process, I think, is very important, and it can take you a long way. And because once you take yourself out of it mentally, you're out of it physically as well. So staying in there mentally, and everything else will follow. So just making sure you trust the process. So those are some tips that I have for you guys to just excel in track and field as a whole. Whether it be in college, whether it be in high school, whether it be past college, and maybe you're running professionally, you're running masters, you're running just amateur, whatever it is. I hope that these tips can help you guys out. and help you PR at your next race. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and hopefully I see you guys in the next one. Peace out.